So thank you for the invite. I'm Nigel Walley. I'm the chair of the Residential Logbook Association, and I'm also chief exec of one of the member companies. I'm sure most people don't know us. Just to let you know, we are now, actually, we're up to 7. Sorry, there's 2 logos missing from the slide. There's 7 companies. We are all UK-based companies delivering some form of residential construction digital logbooks for residential properties. And I'll explain more about that as I go forward. Rather than doing that now. But broadly, the aim of the RLBA is to help these companies create a UK market for digital twins. I'm going to put something into the chat in a moment, which is a European white paper on digital building logbooks. And how they can help all sorts of things. And it's one of our kind of go-to documents as the RLBA. It explains the kind of the big background to digital building logbooks in all their forms. We in the UK are looking to get every single residential property in the UK to have a digital record of key data, maintenance, certification, etc. And also for those records to be connected in a way that I'll kind of explain later on. But you're probably aware that most homeowners in the UK have got a kitchen drawer with something like this in it. With all the manuals, user manuals, guarantees, warranties, for all the white goods, the boiler, how do I get the boiler restarted, all of that kind of stuff has lived in strange boxes in our homes for years. And obviously we are moving into a more digital world. We're hoping to move away from that kind of stuff. And I'm going to make the case today that our little kitchen drawer on the left of the chart is on a continuum to local area digital twins over on the right of the chart. So that's my large claim for the morning. You'll be aware just from your own personal use that in general people are beginning to digitize the way they kind of manage their homes. Many of us will have panicked about how much information is in the drawer, will have scanned documents, will have gone through the process of having documents on our hard drives and web links to our utilities and those kind of things. Some of us may even have gone even further and started saving information about our homes in a Google Drive. You'll be amazed that from our consumer research how few people are actually doing this for their homes and how many people are still in the kitchen drawer mode. But that kind of journey from kitchen drawer to hard drive to Google Drive leads to the next step, which is the kind of the property logbook phenomenon. And you saw at the beginning in the UK there's 7 companies in this market. Across Europe, there's about 50 or 60 really interesting examples of digital building logbooks for residential properties being tried in various forms. And I'll put some more links later on into the chat for those of you who are interested. We think we've got about 350,000 logbooks in the UK. I won't do a logbook demo now because of time, but I'm happy to do one if anyone wants one. This is Chimney, this is my company, this is one of the logbook dashboard pages in the logbook. The big premise of a logbook is that there is a standard place for standard records, maintenance information, utilities. And in the RLBA, what we're trying to do is standardize how we as a group of companies interact with other industries, how we interact with the utilities industry, how we interact with the property lawyers industry, how we interact with local authorities. So there's a big kind of standardization process we're going through. And we're also working on connections. So we're working very hard to get our logbooks connected to local authorities, to the land registry, utilities, etc. So a logbook is much greater than a Google Drive in that it's it's a standard formatted record of your home with links to all these bodies. So that's the kind of the basic logbook project that's been going on. As I say, we are on the route to working out how to get 25 million homes in the UK to have a digital property logbook. But we're pushing much further in this journey towards how a logbook can be a digital twin for a home. So last year, we asked the question for the new build industry, is it possible to actually connect a digital building logbook we give to a homeowner to a BIM model that may be produced by a residential organisation, a developer building residential properties. And we ended up doing a project funded by Innovate UK called Reimagining BIM, where we actually started with the homeowner and their behaviour and worked backwards into building BIM models. And what we ended up doing in this project, we took 4 properties. One was a concept house from a modular company, and then 3 existing properties, one of which had just gone through a deep retrofit with lots of smart technology. And we took those 4 properties. We for the real ones, we scanned them with Point Cloud. We built Revit models for them, and we moved those Revit models into an open web, open BIM hosting system run by a company called XBIM. And from there, in the project, we then connected those BIM models to chimney logbooks that were set up for each of those different properties. But the thing we did, which is absolutely key for the project and key to our kind of journey towards digital twins, was it wasn't just this kind of technical integration. We did a big piece of consumer behavior research, looking at the actual information people wanted. Nobody in our project assumed we were just going to hand a BIM model to a homeowner. A, because they're too complex, they wouldn't want them, they didn't want all the information that was in them. That would be a nonsense thing to do. So what we did, we started with questions homeowners asked about their home, looking at particularly for new builds. People are beginning to ask what their homes are made of. Where can they drill? What's that cladding material made of? How much carbon's in my home? These questions are beginning to be asked. And then for performance, how do I benchmark my home? How do I know if I'm using too much energy? Some basic human questions that are beginning to bubble up amongst homeowners. So we had these kind of 4 batches of questions that came out of our consumer research. And then what we did around these questions is build service models in the logbooks that then required information from a BIM model. And we went backwards and we built a BIM interface that could relate these questions and just pull in the information from a BIM model that answered the questions in the way that homeowners wanted a question. So this wasn't a case of just opening up BIM for homeowners. This was about using BIM as an info resource to create consumer services that they would know and use and understand. So that project finished last year, but it's and where's the bloody stock copies was one of the big questions that always came up with new homes. That project finished, and there's a version 2 happening this year. But since that project, we took some of the learning and we started to look at how we might apply BIM to the 25 million homes in the UK that are going to have to be retrofitted for net zero in this new world. And there's a discussion about whether it was possible to build into a residential logbook an EPC engine to give homeowners the ability to actually start to analyze their own home and make project decisions around their own retrofit. And we are part of a project that's just been awarded funds from an organization called the Green Home Finance Accelerator. And we're working on a new project now with a group of other organisations, which include Trustmark. And for those not from the UK, Trustmark is a government-funded body, which is the repository for certification about our homes. So if you've had building work or retrofit work about your home, the certification is held by this organisation, Trustmark. And we're working with the Energy Savings Trust and Trustmark on another project now, which takes at its core a digital building logbook and sets out to do some interesting things. So we set out to integrate the algorithm which calculates an EPC into the consumer's own app. So the idea being you've got an intelligent app about your home and you can start thinking about projects you might want to do on your home and look at the impact on the EPC from those projects. We're working on creating standard project models. So, and by models, that includes the data for those models. So how does somebody do a retrofit on their windows or their doors in a standard way that can produce data in a standard form? And then to include intelligent analysis for the homeowner, and then to look at how a homeowner might want to report. And there's organizations like the mortgage companies are now interested in doing this. So one of the groups we're going to be connecting to are the lenders, people who loan money on EPC data. So that project's live, building a live EPC model into a homeowner app. And then we've got one project coming up next year. We're calling the in-home dashboard, but this is where we bring smart meter data into the consumer's own digital building logbook. And the idea here is to give homeowners live intelligence about their home that is going to include information from the smart meters themselves, but also we're going to be bringing in room sensors, temperature sensors, so all the intelligent sensors you might want to build into a smart home to add it onto the project. So that's next year's project. And last but not least, we're conscious that local authorities and governments are building local area digital networks. And today is really about a question from us. You can see what we're building. And our message out to kind of the local authority level digital twins is, what do you want from us? So if we could bring every home in your local area into your digital twin, how would we do it and what could we achieve? And that was everything.